time to see if anybody shows up. And how many of those kids are calculus kids? If you are showing up, feel free to say hi so I know you're here. And we'll hang out for a little bit. Hello, Birdo. Now I have to guess who people are. I have like a 1 in 80 chance on this one. Hey, we're up to 5. Wowzer. Oh no, I have an even lower chance because kids from other Algebra 1 classes could show up. So this could be a 1 in 200 chance. Oh, yikes. Those are not good odds. Good morning. Good afternoon, I guess. It stopped being morning about 1 minute ago, sadly. Which is ironic because I woke up all of an hour and 20 minutes ago. So, yeah. Still feels like morning. Oh, that's a name I can know. And hello, Caden. Looks like my 6th period is representing so far, which is not terribly surprising. You guys did have the highest of the first homeworks rate when I checked. So, hey, that's pretty cool. Do I miss you? Yeah, actually, yes. I miss teaching. It's a little lonely at home. Lots of gamer time, which is cool. But, I mean, I teach high school because I enjoy messing around with you guys. So, yes, definitely miss school in general and all of you guys. Uh, yeah, it's not gaming time right now, Caden. So, do you think we'll be back to school in a month? Absolutely not, actually. Um, it kind of depends on how we play it. So I've been reading a lot about this, and if you're curious, um, basically, until there's a vaccine for this is going to continue to come through our society. We don't know how it'll respond in summer. Maybe it'll be weaker in summer. Maybe it won't be weaker in summer. We just don't have enough information to really know. There are some indications that it will be weaker because it's done more poorly at the equator than it's done at higher elevations, but we're still trying to figure things out. Could we not go back to school? Absolutely. If our area decides to shut down for an extended period of time and try to wait out everything, and if the world in general decides to do that, we just might not go back to school. So, the probability here is pretty questionable. Will you get our credits? I have no idea how that works, credit-wise. I know how grades work. If we don't go back to school, it'll be pass-fail, and almost everybody will pass. So that's pretty cool. And pass fail just doesn't impact your GPA, but I believe it does give you credit. And since the entire nation and world is going through this right now, there's going to be a combined effort. Now, there is a possibility, and trust me, I have no information on this. Um, really trust me on this. That I don't have any information, but there's a possibility that if we miss some of next year also, that we could restart part of this semester when we go back to school, and you guys would be like half a year held back, but everyone in the world would be. So yeah, this is completely unprecedented. We have no idea what's going on, and trust me, the district is telling me nothing, and I know about as much as you do. So I'm honestly just doing research on my own. Will we need to make it up if we don't go back? No. unless we do that repeat of second semester part 2 at the beginning of next year, which perhaps starts later because we already have issues. Um, yeah. I'm so bored. Yeah. I am not actually so bored yet because my foot's better, so I can actually like do elliptical and go walking with my wife. So I can actually do outdoorsy stuff again, which feels good. So I've been actually less bored, even though this is going on. But I do miss y'all. What happened to my foot? I have I tore my Achilles like 4 years ago, and I have recurring plantar fasciitis. And when I have it, I basically can't walk comfortably for like a year. Uh, so that kind of sucks. Don't tear your Achilles; it's a terrible injury. All right. So I wanted to start off by doing a warm up. I know, really original. If you've been in my class, whoops, that's what I want to do. And this will give me kind of an indication of where people are at. Did I mess this up already? Yes. Cool. And bam! I want you to try some factoring. And I'll be showing solutions for these in like, I don't know, 10 minutes. You can ask me questions while we're doing this. How will I know if you're actually doing it? Alicia, sorry, Lassie. The issue with this is that I can't grade anything in general, so knowing whether or not you actually do it isn't even relevant to me. You should just, if you're attending this, it's because you want to learn more, and so you should do it. Do I think you remember this? Yes. Uh, I can give you some hints. For that first question there, GCF factoring is what I want you to do. For the second question, it's more of the box kind of factoring, or the X kind of factoring, or the FOIL kind of factoring. The third one is a more complicated version of that. And the fourth one is just subtraction. And if you don't remember any of this, I did post videos on my Monday and Wednesday on my calendar that do go over these. So if you need a refresher after this whole thing, I did talk about how to do all of these there. And if you're in another class, it also, uh, I think we posted the videos to every Algebra 1 teacher's homework calendars. So, yeah. Um, Otherwise, I'd like you to try, and I will be going over these in like 9 or 10 minutes. And hello, Sam. Give these a try. And I'll sing really obnoxiously to drive you crazy while you're doing it. What have I been listening to a lot lately? Some rap. Can't sing that. I'm obsessed with the Moana soundtrack because I like that movie a lot. So I listen to that probably once a day. Yeah. No, I should definitely not sing. My singing's terrible. No, I sing along when I'm by myself, but definitely not out loud. Yeah, sorry, no Billie Eilish. Although I don't know who that person is. Maybe they're in there. I like The Rock a lot, and so that's part of the reason I like Moana. Do do. Sing "Let It Go," you won't. You're correct. Good job. AC/DC. Yikes. You think my voice is high enough for that? That's kind of insulting, honestly. uh, you thought I was gonna say baited. Yeah. And no, Sam, you have an advantage. Your voice can go higher than mine. Well, I can't find a pencil. Sad panda. No pen either? I'd give you one. I have a lot on my desk here, but I can't. Yeah, I'm much better at uh, singing poorly than I am at singing well. You think the second one is that? Well, spoilerino, Caden, you got it right. So hey, you remember something. And folks, if you don't remember, you should check out what Caden got and see if you could figure out how he got it on the second one. Yeah, probably the second one's the easiest, followed by the fourth one, then the first one, then the third one is the hardest, I would say. Um, if you're looking for some direction. So, Alex, what you wrote for the second one can't work because you get a positive 10x for your middle term. It's why Caden's answer, which was slightly higher in chat, is the one it has. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. Yes. Anyways, easier to typo on a computer than on a, like, by hand. The plus and minus questions buttons are right next to each other. Surprised nobody's spoiled the first one yet. I thought people might get that one. Oh, 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 what did I do? Bad, bad, Mr. Kennedy. I was trying to be sneaky and I wasn't sneaky. I should find a pencil, shouldn't I? Probably. Math without a pencil kind of sucks unless you have a touchscreen and a stylus like me, which has helped make this transition to online school much easier. Actually, have a. Okay, okay, Sam. I know that's your friend, but no stupids in chat. Come on. Let's ban that comment. Can I do that? Yes. Haha. All right. Ooh, ooh. Looks like Alex solved the third one. That looks pretty correct. So nice work, Alex. Did anybody else get that answer for the third one that Alex put in chat? Who was under the moniker Jackie? And Dawn perhaps just got a pencil? Oh, Jessica got it? Nice. Nice. 9x plus 38. Oh, that is an answer to one of these. So now we have 3 of the answers in chat. And again, verified by Jessica. Good stuff. Yeah. I got you, Rochelle. That is super good. And how far off am I? Oh, you are not far off, Sam. You actually got the first one right, which means we have all 3 answers in chat, which means I don't even need to call anybody up to the board because we've already had it spoiled by 3 people. uh, so, I think it's time for me to start going through how I would have done all of these, since it seems like most of the people got to good places. So let me... What is this garbage? Zoom in. Zoom out. Cool. Alright, so... the play in the first one, as a few of the folks did, was to see what's common to both of them. 3 goes into both of those, but also x goes into both of those, and the minimum number of x's in either of the terms is the 11th power of x, 11 x's. So I take out a 3x to the 11th. What I have left when I divide the first term by 3x to the 11th is the 3's cancel, and x to the 13th divided by x to the 11th is x squared. And 12x to the 11th divided by 3x to the 11th, the x to the 11th cancel, and I get 12 divided by 3 is 4, making that 100% correct. In the second one, you had to think of what adds to negative 12 and multiplies to 24. Or sorry, adds to negative 14. Oops. And multiplies to 24. And we could try like 1 and 24, but those don't add to negative 14. We could try 2 and 12, but those don't add to... Wait, no, those do add to negative 14. If I just make them both negative, they multiply to positive 24 and add to negative 14, so we get x minus 2, x minus 12 for the second one. For the third one, there is quite a bit more work. So this may be the one some of you don't remember 100%. For this, you have to do a times c, which is 4 times 3, which is 12. And we need to multiply to 12 and add to 13. So 3 and 4 do multiply to 12, but don't add to 13. But 1 and 12 do add to 13 and multiply to 12. So then we go to a Boxeroonie. This is the way we did it in my class. We put a 4x squared up here. We put a 3 down here, just from the original problem. And then this 1 and this 12 are how we build this 13x. So we put a 1x down here and a 12x over here. And then we just build the sides of the box. So it's like a reverse box. We build the sides instead of the inside. So what goes into both 4x squared and 1x is just x. What goes into 4x squared and 12x, it's 4x. And sure enough, 4x times x is 4x squared. 4x times what is 12x? It's a positive 3. X times what is 1x? It's a positive 1. And we just get 4x plus 1 times x plus 3. Beautifully factored. Let's see. All right, And then our next one, um, the people who got this realize that x squared minus x squared, those two destroy each other. 13x minus 4x is 9x. And 42 minus 4 is 38. And 9x minus 38 is that answer. You could also distribute the negative sign and then add everything together. I chose the subtraction method of doing this. The distributing the negative sign is equally good, and you are less likely to make mistakes if you do something like that. So that's pretty good. Did I do a trivia question? I did not. Oh well. uh, I should have. Oh, but all the trivia questions are really depressing right now, because all the numbers I'm looking at are all coronavirus statistics, and that's not happy days, so... yeah. No, do one. Make it up. Make one up. Okay, let's make up something completely wrong. No, can I come up with one on the fly? How full is my head right now? Oh, let's do a really, really crummy one. Here we go. This will be fun. Doink, doink. Um, can I do this intelligently? Oh, gosh. Oh, something plausible. Ready? Yeah, head empty. Totally head empty. Uh, uh, okay. Um, how many miles has Mr. Kennedy driven in the last week? This is something I know the answer to. Let's see if you know the answer. Got 1, 0, 30. Another 0. 1, 52. Dang, can't Google it. Yes, that was a good idea. No, he just played video games. You're not super wrong. My video games played in the last 2 weeks is something like 45 hours. No, it's more than that. It's like 85 hours. It's 45 in the last week. Uh, all right. So, roughly like 3 or 4 people got the right answer here. The number of miles I've driven in the last week is like 0.1. It's a little more than 0 because I actually had to pull my car out of my garage to jump my brother's car. And so it was slightly more than 0. So if somebody had said a tiny bit more than 0, they would have been right. And holy smokes, jumping a Prius is a horrible experience because you have to sit there and rev your car for like 20 minutes to charge their battery because it's an electric car. So when it goes empty, it's terrible. So yeah, I haven't driven anywhere. My wife and drove to Fred Meyer where we got a bunch of groceries, and that's like the only time I've left the house not walking. This last week. Another one, no. We can't do any more of these horrible questions. Uh, yeah, I mean Priuses are good cars. They're just horrible to jump because they have such huge batteries. So instead of a non-math related question, why don't we actually do a math related question? And why did I close that? That was not the play. So I have some other base other than E factoring, and here's the question I have for you. Factor me this. I think we all get it right because it's a participation reward. I mean, technically, all of school is a participation reward right now, if you think about it, because there's no grades for any of this. You're just here to get smarter. So that's kind of funny. So factor me this. see if I can figure this out in my head. Oh, yes, I can. Cool. It is not too mean. I can't. I don't have a pencil. Dawn, I did it in my head. You can do it too. I believe in you. Well, these are kind of hard to do in your head. That's maybe not a fair expectation. I can only do these because I've done literally thousands of these, maybe tens of thousands of these in my head. Yeah, but you like math. Of course I like math. Math is awesome. A little random tidbit is part of the reason I got so good at math is because I went to church a lot as a little kid, and I didn't understand what they were saying, but I did math tables in my head all the time to like make it through. And so I actually thank church a ton for making me like way better at math. So that was sweet. Probably not the thing my parents thought they were teaching me for that little time there. Can I say the answer? And then Leslie just went, bam! Here's the answer. So yes. Who in the world would think of math during church? This guy. And yes, the order does not matter there. So if you got that answer, hunky dory. That is fantastic. I was going to go through and spoil this now with my method. 4 times 7 is 28. The factors of 28 that add to 11 are 4 and 7, which means I can now build my box. 4x squared goes up here. 7 goes down here. These guys go here and here, so 4x and 7x. And then we just build the sides that work. So 4x goes into both of these, and just x goes into both of the first column there. And then plus 1 makes this side work, and plus 7 makes this side work. And we get, and did I goof because I put no negatives? Oh, sad panda. See, this is why you trust the students in my class and not me. Because you get -4 and -7 add to -11x, so I couldn't just use 4 and 7. And we get x minus 1 and 4x minus 7, which are the pairs that yield this answer. I learned a faster way of doing it. I think it's FOIL. Yeah, okay. So, this is our factored person, or factored version here. Factoring really doesn't go faster any other way. If you wanted a faster way of multiplying, FOIL can do this. If you're curious how many people are on, it's somewhere around 20 people are here, which is pretty good. I get about 30 for my calculus ones, so 20 for algebra 1's not too bad. So I talk about this method. So there's 2 methods of multiplying. There's FOIL and box. There's actually more, but a lot of the other ones really suck. The reason I didn't do FOIL in class is because in my class, and other people do it in their class, is because FOIL stands for first, outside, inside, and last. That's the F, the O, the I, and the L. And it works really well when you have 2 terms. FOIL is a really fast way of doing it. You multiply the first 2 terms, x squared. The outside terms, x and 2, 2x. The inside terms, -1 and x. And the last terms, -1 times 2 is -2. And that's the FOIL method. As, like, in contrast to the box method, like this, where you multiply x minus 1 times x plus 2, you fill in the parts of the box. You may notice when I do the box and when I do FOIL, I get exactly the same stuff inside my box as I get by FOILing. So these methods are the same for 2x2s. Where FOIL falls apart is when you multiply x squared minus 3x plus 4 times x cubed minus 3x plus 2. Because now there's a lot more than one term in each of the, or two terms in each of these. So you can't like, I mean, yes, you could start with the first, but then you need to multiply this one by all of these things and then do all this crap and keep track of all your terms, and it's absolute mess. Whereas the box, all we do is build a 3x3 box. Whoops, that's going to be a really bad 3x3 line. And the box actually works totally fine and organizes all your answers. And so this is one of the reasons I recommend this. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Did my stream just get wrecked? Or did my computer just panic? Crud muffins, I'm dropping people. No, we're good. And so the box is just a better way of doing bigger things. And so we teach the box because it translates better to future problems. Like in Algebra 2, knowing the box method will let you do more questions than knowing FOIL will. So both of these are legit methods. They're just kind of the box works better long term. The foiling is a slightly quicker short term. Hopefully that was helpful. And yeah, sorry, I think there might be some upload issues. Basically, my wife and I are both working from home, and I have really good internet, but a ton of people are using the internet right now. So there might be some issues on the upload end for me. Okay. Next thing I wanted to drop some spoilers on, and yes, that is Alex there, is what we're doing next, actually. What we're doing next is we're not getting rid of quadratics. So when we multiply x minus 1 times x plus 1 and get something like x squared minus 1, this is a quadratic. But what we're doing in the next section is we're actually going to be solving quadratics. So we're going to be bringing algebra to quadratics. So we're going to be solving an equation like this one, where it equals 0. So that's what makes it an equation. And all we do in questions like this to solve for x is add 1 to both sides. And we get x squared equals 1, and square root both sides. But something janky happens when you square root, because it turns out a lot of you would get this answer right. 1 times 1 is 1, so the square root of 1 is 1. But something else times itself also equals 1, and that's negative 1 times negative 1. That's also 1. And so when we square root both sides, when we're doing quadratic algebra, we actually get two answers. We get 1, and we get negative 1. So this is kind of like absolute value, and this is something we're going to see a lot as we move forward, is getting two answers for quadratics. And now, yes, it took this long for a calculus student to show up. Josh is a calculus student. He's a slimy sophomore in calculus. Who was also here yesterday for my calculus stream. I'm not a fan of your inconsistency in writing your ones. Well, then you're going to hate when I write twos, because sometimes I write them like this, and sometimes I write them like this. So that's not good. So this is just a little preface of the kind of stuff that's coming. We're also going to be translating quadratics, moving them left, right, up, and down. We're going to be sending out a Desmos activity next week, probably on Wednesday, for learning how to do the thing, or like reinforcing ideas for that. So we have some interesting stuff coming. Why? What is the purpose? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, what is the purpose? I have no idea what the purpose is. Basically, I'm just kind of a mess in my head. So, I apologize. uh, why is it banning these messages? Are these offensive messages? And don't forget to subscribe as an offensive message. I don't understand. All right. Um, what other kind of things are coming? Out of curiosity, I know some of you took CC8 Algebra 1, but this thing's coming up in the probably in a couple weeks. Has anybody seen this thing before? This nice complicated. Oh, Vachin's here. Vachin has seen this before. Whoa, Alex fixed back to her old account. Anybody seen this thing before? Oh, we got a yes from Rochelle. Get on Discord. So, folks, this is something we're going to be covering in the next few weeks. That's like crazy, crazy important because this thing just lets you solve any quadratic. So I could write x squared plus 6x plus 4 equals 0. And we could use this equation and get the answers like right away just by plugging into this equation. And so this is a really snazzy little piece that we get to use in the near future. This is called the quadratic formula. And it looks really scary. But it's not actually that scary because all this is, all these A, B's, and C's and all this garbage in here is A is the coefficient of x squared, so A would be 1 here. B is the coefficient of x, so B would be 6 here. Oh, inconsistency of ones, check that. And C would be 4. And then we just plug in 1 for A, 6 for B, and 4 for C, and solve that equation, and that will give us both of the answers. So this is like the big kahuna of next unit. This solves everything and is really an awesome tool that is coming our way. So folks, out of curiosity, so if we don't have school for a while, will we be graded? No. On nothing we do for the near future will we be graded. Should I do a Discord server? Okay, so the issue with a Discord server, folks, is I'd have to moderate it because if there was any offensive content in there, I could get in trouble because it's being used for educational purposes, and that's a risk. I only do Discord for like my Model United Nations Club and stuff like that for that reason. So that's my big worry with using Discord. Otherwise, I'd be happy to like answer questions on something like that. It's a pretty good vehicle for that. What kind of questions would you guys like to see me do, ask you to do, come up with an example for? I'm kind of through the planned material I had, which is to give you some ideas of what is coming. One of my teachers said she would fail us if we didn't turn in our homework online because she's been handing out every day. Yeah, that's actually not possible, according to the president's email, or not the president's, the principal's email. So I think that's an empty threat. I don't want to step on that teacher's hands, but all the emails have been very explicit that we're not allowed to grade anything right now. Goodness knows I would love to grade some stuff because grades are a useful carrot, but that's impossible. Can you do the ones with no middle term? Sure. That sounds like a good idea. So for the ones with no middle term, like let's do 4x squared minus 64, something like this. So there's no x term, which is what she means by no middle term. We could approach this like we do the other ones. Our b is 0, because there's no middle term. our A times C is 256, or 64 times 4. And then we could think of the factors of 256 that give us this answer. Now, if you're struggling to come up with the factors of 256, it turns out there's a really nice first step here that we could have done, which is take out the greatest common factor. If we do this, we make our math a lot easier. So I'm going to take out my greatest common factor initially here, and then I don't have to think of things that multiply to 256. I only have to think of things that multiply to negative 16. And that's a lot easier. So what multiplies to negative 16 and still adds to 0? Well, that's negative 4 and positive 4. And so this is just 4 times x minus 4 times x plus 4. And that's pretty snazzy. Now, if I up this difficulty a little bit and do something like, let's do 4x to the 4th minus 20. Why did I do that? Minus 25y squared. And I'm splitting this to two terms. Remember, there's a shortcut. Anytime you have things subtracted, two things subtracted, you can split them into two parentheses where you put the square root of the first thing first, and you put the square root of the second thing second. And you just do one of them plus and one of them minus. So the square root of 4x to the 4th is 2x squared. And so that's what's going to go in my first two spots. What's going to go in my second two spots is the square root of 25y squared, which is 5y. 25 square root is 5. Y squared square root is y. And we get this, and booyah, that's it. So these can be really nice for solving these sort of questions. Oh, you have an APHG chat thingy at 1. Ooh. Yeah, folks, regarding schoolwork, my opinion right now with all of this is, if you want to continue doing well in school after this year and set yourself up for success and stave off boredom, you should be doing things right now. Like, just do most of the things the teachers send out, or learn as much as you can. Don't, like, work yourself to exhaustion, but you also don't have to go to school, so there should be a lot less exhaustion. But if you don't do anything right now, you will atrophy and you will get dumber. Like, real talk. Like, the general atrophy for muscles is actually about the same as it is for your brain. So if you're in soccer season, how do you spell soccer? Is it O-R or E-R? I can never remember. Whatever. We'll spell it wrong. Can you raise your grades in any way? Really quick on the raised grades thing, anything that was an assignment before this break started is totally okay to do and make up grades for. So anything that happened before we break that your teachers allow you to retake or turn in late or whatever is all legit right now for raising your grade. But there's a decent probability, I would say greater than 50%, that your grades won't matter for second semester anyways. So there's that trade-off. Anyways, back to this soccer analogy. So if you play soccer and you take 2 weeks off and you do like nothing, like you sit on the beach or something for 2 weeks and like do no running, do no anything, when you come back, you get like wrecked, like you're winded. Like the first practice, you get totally bamboozled. If you take like let's say 9 months off, if you're like a rec player and you don't play year round, that first practice back, you're like destroyed. And this is true for school also. Like when you take a week off for like spring break, you come back and you're like, man, my brain hasn't thought about math. I'm gonna get wrecked. And you do get a little bit wrecked. You have to spend a little time brushing off the cobwebs. But when you come back from like summer break, so for school, it's like, a 2 week break for maybe like a winter break, compared to like a, I don't know, 4 month break for potential summer plus corona break, or like 5 or 6 month. Holy smokes. It's actually a lot of months, isn't it? Yeah, this is similar. When you come back, you're going to get destroyed if you do nothing. So the key part, and what we're trying to do as teachers and all that, is to like keep you somewhat good, like keep your brain somewhat thinking about math, so that when you come back, you don't get destroyed. Like, I mean, so this is a pretty personal example for me. Part of the reason I played rec soccer, because I like soccer, but I didn't love soccer. I loved basketball, but soccer season, rec-wise, was right before basketball season, and so I'd always do soccer to get my lazy butt in shape before basketball season started. Uh, and that's really what you should look at this like online school as, is like the way I did rec soccer, to get our lazy butts in shape, so we can, when we come back and we start doing the real school, we're not completely wrecked. uh, let's go through and see if I missed anything. What would we do for sports season? Oh, I have no clue. I don't have any clue. I man, can I retake a quiz for your class? Um so the way I'm going to do quizzes, and I talked to my Calc kids about this, is if you're in my class, or honestly if you're in Polson's class, it's probably pretty similar. Um is We've taken so few quizzes this semester. Like we've taken something like 5 or 6 sections. I forget exactly. And I let you retake 3 a week. So if we go back to school, even early June, you'd have 3 opportunities to retake, and 3 times 3 is 9 possible retakes of 5 to 6 sections. So, if we go back, you're gonna have absolutely no problem, assuming you don't atrophy your brain too much, to uh, like learn get your grade raised. So really, there's no concern because your grade's such like a tiny thing right now. There's only like, I don't know, 6 homework assignments, 4 or 5 quizzes, or 5 or 6 quizzes. I don't remember exactly, and a test. It's going to be very easy to fix it. One thing I can accept from people is we took a test on what was it on? It was on piecewise functions. And if you're in my class, I will still accept test corrections if you like can scan them and send them to me. So that's a way you could raise your grade. A lot of people bombed that test, and not everybody turned in test corrections. So yeah. What about Polson? I don't know about Polson. I forget her exact policy, but if you reach out to her, she'd probably be somewhat understanding. Uh, like uh, she's pretty nice. All right. Pretty sure I did well on that test. Yeah, yeah. Some people did well, some people did not do so well. It depends. But again, maybe worry about grades when you're for sure they're actually going to be real. Or maybe do it now because you remember everything. I don't know, man. So, moral of the story, next week, new content. We're going to be going into that new quadratics chapter. We're going to be going into section 8.1 in your online textbook, 8.2, 8.3, that sort of thing. So early eights. It's what we would have done after the test. Your test was supposed to be like last Monday or something. uh, that didn't happen. And so we're not actually testing on that now. We did a bunch of review, which is as good as the tests. Can you send us the piecewise test so we can do corrections at home? Can I do that? Yeah, okay. If you're in my class, I'll post. I can't post. I can't send you your tests, but I'll post empty piecewise tests. And if you go through that and do it all right, write a new question, do it right, or that my normal process, then I'll give you back some points for that, for sure. Um, yeah. But otherwise, I think I'm gonna wrap this up. I mean, chat's having a blast here, but there's not a lot of math in there, so. Uh, it was wonderful talking to all of you. Thank you to the folks who came from Polson's class or anybody from Mr. Hall's class. I think most of the folks were from my class, unsurprisingly. It's possible Miss Polson will be running these things in the near future because she's apparently got her setup up and running. We'll see. We might be changing up videos, like who's doing them and everything. But I appreciate all of you who try to learn stuff, and it was wonderful talking to all of you. I miss you all too, and I'll talk to you later. Bye bye. Stop streaming.